Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and let's get started. All right, I am here with Ace Lane, and what a privilege it is to talk to such a local success story and pioneer in a lot of areas right now. You know, he's kind of like a lot of us. He's too dumb not to take on bigger and bigger challenges and make his life even more complicated. But, you know, the reward when you get a chance to do amazing things and you've had success in your life and you enjoy winning, you never back down for a challenge, from a challenge. And that's Ace. He's not only a native, he's a former ski racer. He's got 3 sons. Growing up here in the mountains, they've done everything you can possibly do. He's had for I don't know how long a boating facility down valley, about 20 minutes, and now he's turning it into a multi-purpose development that's really going to transform the whole area and make magic happen and take this kind of a backwoods type area and really make it first class. And of course, he's had to battle regulatory people to, anything that's good, they're going to want to try and stop you. And so, he survived that, and now he's underway. Ace, you don't know, but I drove by there last week and I saw heavy equipment everywhere, and it just looks exciting because I started out my career building houses in Atlanta, Georgia, and had a degree in building construction. So from Georgia Tech. So it was, it's always exciting for me to get out there and smell the earth and see the big equipment moving around and know that, things are being created that's going to be the center of all kind of life experience and families growing up, and be a special place for lots of people. And of course, that's what you're doing. So welcome, Ace. Thanks for being on.
Hey, thank you. I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you.
Well, Ace, tell people a little bit about where you came from and the earliest things that drove you and your earliest experiences with winning and losing.
Well, it started pretty young. I came from a family of 6, and I was the youngest must have been a spaghetti dinner deep in the marriage, because I came along way behind, which was fine, but it made me feel like I had to get going and get some shit done. So I started out in a sport with some great success, and also with great success in sport comes a lot of loss too, where you lose, but you learn from all those times that you lose. And I've heard many people say that they learn more from their losses than they do from their wins, or they don't learn much from their wins. Actually, I feel like I learned from both. But so it started very, very young. I would start bringing home awards to my dad, and he would laminate them and put them in a book. And then I had a bout with rheumatic fever, which took me out for about a year. And
what age was that?
I was 6.
Really?
And
really?
They had some grim ideas of what might happen to me, but I ran track in college, and I played lacrosse at a high level, and ski raced, and that. So I have a good heart. I'm grateful. So I fought back from that, and then I was in a pretty rugged fire where I got burned pretty bad, and over 40% of my body, and I've had over 40 surgeries, and I've had
what are you talking about? 40 surgeries, 40% of the body?
I think I've had somewhere around 43 plus surgeries, but some of them were orthopedic.
Wow.
So I'm definitely familiar with recovering, getting myself back on track, but it has taught me to charge ahead, not just physically, but emotionally was very challenging on multiple sort of levels. But I'm grateful I've had, such supportive coaches that have just believed in me, and it's made a huge difference to me. So, and I feel like I've learned a lot. And I continue to learn. I learn how much more I need to learn and how little I know.
Yeah. The thing is, Ace, when we start out, we're always either the youngest, the smallest, or the newest person in whatever sport it is we're starting in. And I can remember like being out there, whatever the sport was, they picked teams, and I just wanted to get picked. I just wanted to get to where I could get good enough to not be the last one picked. And then I could be one of the, your dreams are very small, and, then you want to get to where you're the first picked. And then then you start thinking about winning things and taste winning. Where did you get the taste of winning? Because coming back from being shut down for a year as a kid, going through surgeries, have disasters happen, it helps when you've got that taste of winning in your mind, where you know what that feels like. You've tasted it.
Yeah, no, I definitely, before the fire, I definitely tasted winning on a variety of levels in sports. And so when that accident happened,
What age was that?
That was almost 12.
Wow.
So I went to a school which at the time was sort of ahead of its football program. It started very young, and so I was I was the quarterback, and then all of a sudden I wasn't in school. I lost another year of school, being in the hospital, fighting for my life for the first part of it. And then, then I was fighting to find my way back, because I had this dream of being a top end athlete. So I got this work ethic, that developed, I think, a lot of it through having to fight through the surgeries and recovering, and just how people treated you in school. And so when I came back, after my first long stint in the hospital, it was time for me I didn't think I would play football again, but I sat on the edge of the hill watching all the teams play, and I thought, wow, I gotta get back out there. So I went back out there. It was pretty scary because I had lost a lot of weight and my confidence was so low. And I had an absolutely horrible year. And the next year I came back, I had an awesome year. I took everything I had learned from the prior year, and I just thought about it all summer and how I could practice it, how I could demonstrate it better. And it came back in a great way. And again, the coaches throughout my life, I've had awesome coaches that have believed in me, and it's made a huge difference in my life.
Why do you, what did you get out of football that made it so important to you? And what gave you the idea that you could come back? I mean, were people encouraging you around there? Did your parents say, just let it go, or were they behind you?
Well, I think they were sort of, I mean, it was all new to everybody, right? So I think they were trying to figure out how best to support me. So, I came back from sitting on the hill. I told them my decision, and they were very supportive of it. And so off I went. And, I learned a ton. I think I probably could have gone further with football, but I got involved with ski racing, and I was told that soccer was better for my pursuit in ski racing. So I switched over. Not sure it was the best decision, but I learned a lot in soccer too. But my skill sets in football or my personality is more geared towards football. But
now
I did. Go ahead.
What kind of person did you become? How did, once you came back athletically, physically from, uh, now were most of those surgeries during this year or during that time, or have they been ongoing?
They've been ongoing.
Yeah.
So I probably have one in November, a pretty big one. So yeah,
Wow.
it's a continuing process.
Well, I think they're opening up the Stedman Clinic just kind of to service you, to make it,
Yeah, right.
you could just go across the street or something. And
Yeah, they always say welcome back when I show up.
yeah. For those who don't know, the Stedman's the big uh, surgery, orthopedic, especially clinic in Vale, world renowned, and they are expanding into Willits Basalt area and right across the street, I believe, from your big development. Is that right?
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're right in the middle of a huge surge now in the community. And how did you wind up? How far did you go in sports, and when did you get out of sports and say, I got to go earn a living?
Well, so I was I wanted to make the national team in skiing, and it wasn't happening. I wasn't good enough. As hard as I was trying, I was just putting everything I had into it, and I was not getting there. So I decided I would go race for a college and just chill out. And I had just like a big spiritual shift in my thought. And when I went to college, all of a sudden, easing up, it was fun again, and I was fast. I was much faster. So then I jumped on the pro tour, and I did that for 9 years. And in '87, I won a pro tour, the American Western Pro Tour, and that was a big deal to
That's
me.
huge. That's huge.
To,
Unbelievable.
to
Congratulations.
come. So for me, I was super stoked about that, and at the same time, I was going to college part time, and I played college soccer, and I also ran track, and both those were, I mean, they were all great experiences, and you meet all kinds of fun people. And my brothers would ask me when I was racing on the pro tour, he'd go, "Ace, when are you going to get a real job and stop playing around?" I'm like, "This is a lot harder than the jobs that you think are real." I said, "I'll go do that other job when I'm ready." So in '90, my first son arrived in '92, and I felt like I had some good success in competing. So I started a design, an architectural design, landscape architectural design build company called Wood River Trees with Noble Design. And we grew to like 148 employees. And
From scratch?
but from scratch.
Wow.
And
How long did that take?
well, to get to that level probably took about 10 years. But as so I found this property in 1990, and it was just a 2-lane road and nothing across the street. So I was grateful I was able to, it seemed like a huge reach, and I was able to do it. I was looking for a piece of property where I could build a water ski lake and grow trees for landscaping operation. And so we designed the lake and built it in less than a year, which would be pretty impossible to do that today. But very fortunately, it's sold out, and we get over 5,000 people skiing there a year. So even though it's a private lake, it gets a lot of use. And the whole idea of the project I'm building around it, because this is like my favorite place on the planet, is on the lake, is to share it. And it is in my backyard. And so I'm trying to, the whole community, the tree farm community, is still a tree farm. So it's not like Elk Run or something where there's not really any elk. There are a lot of trees here. There's a heavy emphasis in the tree farm community with landscape architecture and and trees are a part of it. And that's part of what I would call the social green is the feel. So when you come home or you come to a community, how does it feel? Does it make you feel good, just sort of naturally? And in my landscape architectural career, I found that making places feel good to people felt really good to me. Not just doing the job, but trying to take it to a level where when they came home, they could take a deep breath and feel that sense of joy. And so the project, it's heavily on the green side, but it's also heavy on the social green, which would be the joy side. So all the activities and events on the lake and outside of the lake that we had triathlons and ice karting in the winter and rally races in the snow. And so there's a lot of activity. And with that, there's what I figure is a really fun energy that I find a lot of people love to be around. I certainly do, and my boys do. And so that's part of it.
Thanks so much, Ace.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate being on the show.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Million Dollar Mastermind with me, Larry Weidel. If I've helped you in any way, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. For more information like this, listen to our other Million Dollar Mastermind episodes and check out my Weidel Academy YouTube channel and visit us on WeidelOnWinning.com. I'm the Million Dollar Mastermind, and until next time, go, go, go.